Psalm 79 verse 1 to 13, through the Bible. Psalm 79. Theme: Future of Israel in the Great Tribulation. This psalm is a prayer, not for you and me to pray, but for God's people, the nation Israel, in the Great Tribulation, which is the terrible day of trouble that is coming to them. This is another psalm of Asaph, a great musician, who was probably the writer and arranger of them. He was contemporary with David and probably served as his assistant. O God, the heathen are come into thine inheritance. Thy holy temple have they defiled. They have laid Jerusalem on heaps. Psalm 79, verse 1. Although this psalm was prophetic at the time it was written, it accurately pictures the siege of Nebuchadnezzar and the subsequent Babylonian captivity. Also, the Maccabean period brought such a calamity. This prophecy's ultimate fulfillment will be during the Great Tribulation. Prior to the Babylonian captivity, the false prophets were saying that God would never allow their destruction and captivity. However, the city that the false prophets had said could never be taken was taken, and the inhabitants were carried away into captivity. The temple they said could never be destroyed was destroyed. The city, of course, was Jerusalem, and the people were the children of Israel. This happened several times, and it caused these people to cry out to God. The temple, the sanctuary, is the very center of things. Remember that this section of the Psalms corresponds to the book of Leviticus, which has as its theme the worship centering about the tabernacle and later the temple. The dead bodies of thy servants have they given to be meat unto the fowls of the heaven, the flesh of thy saints unto the beasts of the earth. Psalm 79 verse 2. This horrible carnage was difficult for the people of Israel to understand. Why was God permitting this to happen to them? The false prophets had been continually telling them that it could not happen to God's people. Although the prophet Jeremiah had been faithfully giving God's warning of judgment to come, he had been discredited and labeled as a traitor to his nation. The Israelites could not understand why God had not protected them. This is still a question in our day. I understand that a great many Jews have become atheists because of the terrible persecution and suffering of their people in Germany during Hitler's dictatorship. Of course, it is difficult for them to understand it. Maybe they have the same questions the psalmist has. But have they been faithful to God? Are they back in proper relationship with Him? Have they accepted their Messiah? Are they turning to Him? The answer, of course, is no. God has judged His people in the past and is judging them in our day. I feel that great judgment has come upon the church and will increase in the future. Judgment has come upon the nations of the world, nations like our own. Hear their cry. How long, Lord? Wilt thou be angry forever? Shall thy jealousy burn like fire? Psalm 79 verse 5. The Jews cry out, "Aren't you going to let up on us, O Lord?" Then they cry to God for forgiveness. O remember not against us former iniquities. Let thy tender mercies speedily prevent us, for we are brought very low. Psalm 79 verse 8. They pray, "Don't remember our former iniquities." But how will He be able to rub them out and forget them? Only through the death of Christ. When Christ is rejected, whether it be by Jew or Gentile, rich or poor, bond or free, male or female, black or white, red or yellow, there is judgment. You have to meet Him in judgment or redemption. There are only two ways. Now listen to the plaintive cry of these suffering people. Help us, O God of our salvation, for the glory of thy name, and deliver us and purge away our sins, for thy name's sake. Psalm 79 verse 9. The children of Israel had been making the boast that God was among them and would deliver them. God had not delivered them, and they were being subjected to ridicule. The heathen were making fun of them. Notice the note of thankfulness on which this psalm ends. So we thy people and sheep of thy pasture will give thee thanks forever. We will show forth thy praise to all generations. Psalm 79, verse 13. In that coming kingdom their sorrows and their tears will be gone forever, and so there will be praise from generation to generation.